top of the forecast for severe weather this weekend. What local agencies, including the state EMA and Alabama Power, are doing to prepare to help you this weekend.
And we're showing you what areas across the country have already seen tornadoes this week.
Live on your side. First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
Well, Brittany Wilkinson and Meg Dodd sent us some video of some large hail with some storms earlier today that impacted the area. You can just listen. That was the sound out there. You know, that was a concern yesterday. So a lot of cold air aloft with these. We're still seeing that right now. I saw one image from our sister station, WAFF, a road in Russellville. It looked like it snowed, just completely covered up. And Lauren, you were sharing some photos out of Atlanta.
Yeah, my sister was sending me photos from around Marietta in the Atlanta metro, and it looked like it had snowed.
Right.
Yeah, it was just covering the ground. It was covering the roads. Very strange to see.
Well, that's, one of the big issues today. That's what we were concerned about. And while we're going to continue that First Alert Weather Day, might still see a couple of these later tonight, Tania.
Yeah, that's true. We're following it very closely. And then, of course, we have Saturday. The main show is what we're liking to call it. But we've got a lot to talk about and more to get you prepared on as we head into the weekend.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Just be prepared. Ways to get those alerts. Think about a lot of things with respect to if you go to community shelters. How long does it take you to get there? Will it be open? Check with local municipalities. Make sure that you check ahead, have a plan, and make sure you have ways to get the alerts. That's the main thing. Just pay close attention to the weather, and that's what we're going to do right now is talk about where, first off, we are tracking some storms, but Saturday is that day. We've actually dropped the First Alert Weather Day tomorrow because all this is going to hold off now, it looks like, until the early morning on Saturday. But that's when we're going to see not just tornado threat, a significant tornado threat. We've been talking about this for over 5 days, and in weather, when we see that kind of consistency, there is a big concern about a forecast certainly verifying. So let's talk about the radar at the moment. Now, this is happening right now. It was severe. It's not severe, but it's a strong storm. When you see on our radar these reflectivities coming in and showing the darker colors like that in the core of these storms, that's telling us that there is some hail with this and quite a bit of lightning. That's around Rock Creek and Ellaville, and that's tracking to the east direction. So this is Winston County, and now we're starting to see some impacts around Coleman County. Notice how the development here is starting to expand southward, and that's why we think a couple of these storms could continue to develop south, maybe even in parts of Blount County and Jefferson counties. So over the next few hours, keep an eye out just in case one of these storms decides to kind of go to the next level and grow severe. We've had some of these storms out there producing over quarter-size hailstones today, so that's what we got to watch out for. So we're going to continue that First Alert Weather Day, but you can see how confined this is. This isn't widespread. It's kind of like a summer day. We just kind of plan around those scattered storms. That's the same for tonight. And by the way, with the lunar eclipse happening later on tonight, I do think we'll have some cloud breaks and be able to catch that bright full moon tonight and the lunar eclipse. But tomorrow, again, mainly dry, a warm day. It's going to be windy. That south wind starts to kick in, highs around 80 degrees. But Saturday, we started out in the morning. There will be a round of storms, and then that threat increases after lunchtime. So it comes back later in the day. First off, tomorrow, we are looking at, again, improved conditions for most of the area, but notice now a moderate risk for severe weather has been issued for Saturday. So this will not be an issue tomorrow. We'll see those afternoon highs in the 70s, lots of sunshine, winds pick up out of the south at about 10 to 15 later in the day. But then watch it after midnight tomorrow night. That morning round of storms starting in West Alabama, that morning impact of 1 in the morning until 8 o'clock. Looks like 3 in the morning until 9 o'clock for central areas, 4 until 10 for eastern areas. And if we do have a break, it won't last long. It comes right back, and this is when that tornado threat just continues to increase midday into the afternoon and evening in West Alabama, 2 o'clock to 10 p.m. central areas. It looks like by midnight, most of this gets out of here across East Alabama, and big improvements on the way for Sunday. So we will stay well ahead of this every step of the way, keeping you well informed. Right now, let's go back to Lauren.
Thank you, Wes. Well, of course, we want you to have that WBRC First Alert Weather app downloaded, but another valuable tool to have in your arsenal, a NOAA weather radio. And we're going to show you how to program one right here on air. So the main thing to know, and we harp on this all the time, What county do you live in? You've got to know your county, because in order to set your location, you've got to know what your county is. So you scroll through to go to set your location, and you can decide whether you want multiple counties to be on your weather radio. Typically, I just do a single one, so I'm not overloaded with alerts. There we go. Okay, so you click on that single county, click select, click same, and then you have to put in the county code. So in order, I thought this was a more advanced weather radio. This is an older one, so you've got to know the county code. Once you know the county code, which I would look up on Google, you can look up the one for Jefferson County. You put that in, and then that's programmed. So it says not found, but that's because this is an older version. A lot of the newer weather radios, if you go to get one, it already has Alabama and all of its counties listed in there. So we go to the menu, we go back to the menu here, and it would show us, okay, once we have the county programmed, you have to know what the weather radio transmitter is nearby in Birmingham. So the one in Birmingham is 162.550. You will know you have programmed the right one when you start to hear that weather radio spiel going on. And make sure that on the side that you flip it to on, because that's the only way this is going to work, and obviously put some batteries in it too. Tania?
Well, thanks, Lauren. Well, these storms could bring some powerful wind and down trees, and Alabama Power is preparing to get your power back if it goes out. So one of the technologies Alabama Power has been able to do is restore your power automatically. Once the storm passes, you can report or monitor your power outage online. You can also sign up for text alerts that will tell you how close crews are making or getting to a specific repair.
Not only will it tell you where outages are, it can also tell you the cause of your outages and the potential timeline for when your power will be restored.
Alabama Power is saying that they always have crews working around the clock to make sure they can keep your power on. Well, Wes?
Yeah, Tania, and the state EMA is also making sure they're ready to help you in severe weather just in case severe weather causes damage. Right now, they're in constant contact with partners who will be involved in the storm response. That includes the Department of Transportation, which will monitor road conditions. ALEA focuses on the public safety. The National Guard may be deployed for disaster relief, and the Alabama Department of Human Resources handles sheltering needs. So state EMA officials say get ready right now.
The quiet before the storm is a good time to take an assessment of what you have in your home that may help you become more prepared. But throughout the year is a good time to make sure you keep the emergency preparedness kit stocked with things that you need, because we don't know how these weather situations are going to turn out.
And EMA officials say that if conditions do, of course, grow quite severe, they will activate the state's Emergency Operations Center.
Well, Wes, you know, we were talking so closely about this severe threat, but one thing we really want to talk about in more detail, Tania, is I think we talk a lot about the physical aspect of storms outside, but what about what's going on in here?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, storm anxiety is so real. I saw your post on social media. If you don't follow Lauren, go follow her. But yeah, I've been seeing people commenting over and over talking about, hey, just leading up to the event, how much stress and anxiety they're experiencing right at this moment. Right.
And I know even we as meteorologists, we have to take care of ourselves too to make sure that we're able to deliver that message to you effectively, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And I want you guys to remember that as well. We give you so much information. It's a wealth of information that we have, but honestly, even we know it can be overwhelming, all of this information that we're spitting at you.
Yeah, so I think one of the tips that we like to stress is that try to reduce information overload, right?
Yes.
Try to make sure, maybe follow 1, 2, 3 meteorologists, us, of course, the WBRC First Alert Weather team, but try to limit how much information you are taking in, because if you take in too much all at once, well, you're going to likely put more stress on yourself. So try to limit how much information you take in. Make sure you're staying informed, but don't overdo it. Don't take in information from all these meteorologists all across the country, hearing the worst of the worst. Make sure you're following people that you trust.
Yes, people that you trust. And you have to think with anxiety, and this goes for just regular everyday anxiety too, do what is within your control, because when you have anxiety, I think a lot of the times it feels like you are out of control. So what is within our control, Tania?
Well, honestly, your daily techniques, things that you can control control, like making that safe place comfortable for you.
Yes.
Maybe even just having some kind of stuffed animal that comforts you.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yep.
your pets, your fur friends, things like that.
The real ones too.
Yeah. So if you know that your safe place is your closet or your bathroom, make that place comfortable as we get prepared for Saturday.
Right, and the key is to react ahead of time,
Yes.
right? You don't want to react afterwards. You want to have those preps ahead of time. And so that's what we can do. We've been talking about having not just the First Alert Weather app, but your NOAA weather radio set to go. And if you feel overwhelmed, talk to somebody. Talk about that severe threat so you'll feel better about what's to come.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, we're going to be here with you throughout the rest of this week, giving you the information that you need, keeping you well informed. But Lauren?
Yeah, and as Tania says, hashtag fight the storm.
Love it.
UAB says it's ready to keep everyone safe on campus as well as in its hospitals this weekend. What they're doing now to be prepared.
All right, welcome back. We are tracking a strong thunderstorm right now around Double Springs. I want to zoom in. This is over Winston County, likely seeing some large hail with this. You can see if we go back to our hail tracker, this has been producing some large hail all the way from southern Lawrence County down through Rock Creek. And now the way this is tracking, it looks like this is going to move towards the Houston area. So Black Pine, Houston, all around Smith Lake, Arley, another area there. I want to make sure if you're in Eagle, I mentioned Addison earlier tonight. This storm could impact you. Again, it's non-severe, but it is producing quite a bit of hail. We look at this, you can see there's a 90% chance that we have some large hail with this, maybe nickel size as this moves to the east direction. So that's what we're tracking with that storm. We go back over to our radar products and you can see over into Coleman County. We have lightning right now seeing, look at that, over 120 strikes with just these few storms out there. So it is popping around Baileyton right now. You go north of Coleman County, get in towards Falkville, some loud rumbles, but some big impacts along the drive there from Coleman north, some very, very heavy rainfall. So it's still a first alert weather day this evening for this risk of some big hail producers. We're, of course, watching Saturday. We'll talk a lot more about that coming up in first alert weather.
Thanks, Wes. And we have been talking about what is so important when you are forecasting severe weather. You have to know more than just what is going on at the surface. It is essential that we know what is going on in all levels of the atmosphere. And that's where atmospheric soundings come into play. Now, if you're watching Weather Extra, you're watching to get some Weather Geek stuff. And that's what we're doing here. When we release weather balloons, which our friends at the National Weather Service in Birmingham do at least twice a day, what they are doing is trying to get a vertical profile of the atmosphere. And so this is what it can spit back out. And even our models can give us an idea of what it would look like if a weather balloon was released. So you can look from 5,000 feet up into the atmosphere, 18,000 feet, about 39,000 feet up, which is where planes fly. You can get an idea of not just what is going on with temperature and moisture, but what about wind direction? You can see the wind profile there showing up on the sounding shows. At the surface, winds will be coming in out of the southeast, and the farther up you go, those winds begin to shift to more out of the southwest. So you're getting a change in wind direction and speed with height. The winds get a lot more potent the higher up you go. The jet stream is going to have some really fast winds above us as this event goes through. But you can also look at this red line and this blue line. This is what we call a loaded gun sounding. That space between the red and the blue line tells us there is going to be a lot of instability in the atmosphere. The air is going to be able to rise very quickly. It's going to have some violent updrafts, and that is what can lead to a severe threat as we get into Saturday, Tania.
Thanks, Lauren. Well, right now, emergency management leaders at UAB are working to make sure patients, hospital staff, and students are safe during the severe weather threat heading into the weekend. Eddie Core is the director of emergency management at UAB. He talked to the media today about plans for safety on campus. Core says the first thing they do is prepare and train. Right now, students are on spring break, but we asked how any students who may still be on campus are notified about severe weather.
we are in constant contact with our student population as well as the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service mainly provides us with the most up-to-date and accurate information that we have, and therefore we pass that along to our students, faculty, and our staff community. We do that through our mass notification system.
A UAB spokesperson says the university and hospital have emergency management professionals who stay weather aware and alert, and other staff members that plan accordingly for these weather events. Lauren?
Well, take a look at the damage caused by a confirmed tornado in California. You're looking at damage from an EF0 tornado that had winds up to 85 miles per hour. This is in the town of Pico Rivera in the Los Angeles area. People living there say they heard the wind howling early Thursday morning, then started to hear trees fall and see their windows begin to shatter. We're talking a lot about storms, but there's something exciting happening in the sky tonight. What you need to know about the upcoming total lunar eclipse.
Well, a stormy sky right now over Coleman. Look at that view. I was noticing that wind really starting to pick up. I know it's showing a northeast wind at 8, but I was seeing some gust out there, and also that risk for lightning. Notice how the temperatures dropped to 63 degrees, and we're seeing lots of hail with some of these storms. So stay alert for that possibility. It's kind of like a summer day. You know, we're planning around these scattered thunderstorms. That's what we're going to deal with tonight. But these storms that do develop, they are quite potent with gusty winds winds, and look at the lightning, 74 strikes with this, and we haven't seen any big hail producers like this in quite some time. In fact, you probably would have to go back to the last storm season in the last year, but notice right now around Barnett Chapel, we're seeing a hail core with this storm. This is out around Smith Lake. There's a Houston area, places like Black Pine. Right now, it is really coming down in those areas. It's just below severe levels, but still a dangerous storm, and you want to be indoors. This is tracking to the east direction. Not concerned about tornadoes with this. A lot of rain, though, as you can see, stretching back into places like Coleman, East Point, Berlin, and Walter, and back in towards Holly Pine, getting some of that rainfall. And eventually, this will cross on over to Blount County and maybe reach areas as far south as Pine Mountain, perhaps, for this evening. So giving you the first alert, there are some scattered storms out there that we are tracking. Now, we did take away the alert day for tomorrow just because tomorrow we expect some big-time improvements during the day. We're going to have winds out of the south, and the model data has held off on the storm risk until we go into Saturday. So that will be the next first alert weather day. Again, tomorrow morning, maybe some early morning low clouds and sprinkles as we start to get that moisture layer that starts to build in from the south early in the day, but we'll break into a partly sunny sky, windy and warm, highs around 80. That south wind starts to kick in late tomorrow night, though. We're going to have to watch it after midnight. We start to see those storms ramping up and developing. And will we see severe storms Saturday morning? There's a chance that we could early in the day. That risk does include a tornado. Now, we do expect a more significant tornado threat to start to ramp up later in the day on Saturday. Notice by lunchtime, here it comes again. And, you know, once that initial line pushes through, if we can start to see some stable air move in, hopefully sooner than later, we will be able to start clearing some counties away, perhaps in some areas back to the north. But it doesn't look like the main push with this, or at least the back edge of this system, is going to start moving through until Saturday night. And really need to watch for some isolated storms out ahead of that main line. There's 7 o'clock. Notice 2:30 Sunday morning. This is out of here. So this is going to move out fairly quickly once it begins. But it looks like Sunday a nice day. 60s on Monday. Dry for St. Patrick's Day. Tuesday looks like a nice day. Wednesday night, a chance for some showers and storms. Most of the day Wednesday should be okay, and we're not seeing a big risk for severe weather. So with respect to, I was just looking at some of the severe weather parameters over the next few weeks, and quite frankly, Saturday is the day that just stands out. We don't see another risk anytime soon. Now tonight, starting at 10:57, I think we'll catch some cloud breaks. We have the total lunar eclipse. For us, we reach totality around 1:58 tomorrow morning. And right now, to talk more about the lunar eclipse is meteorologist Lauren Linehan.
Thanks, Wes. Yeah, well, if you're up late tonight, I will not be. Make sure you look up at the night sky. That's because, as Wes said, there's a total lunar eclipse happening. Maribel Gonzalez is at the Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles to tell us what we can see and what makes this phenomenon so unique.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's a total lunar eclipse, a rare event when the moon passes within the darkest part of Earth's shadow.
It doesn't happen that often because the moon actually orbits slightly above and below the Earth's shadow most of the time. But every couple of years, it punches through that shadow.
And that time is here. Thursday night, millions of people across the country will be able to witness this moon marvel beginning just before midnight Eastern Daylight Time, according to NASA.
The big thing with a lunar eclipse is because it's slow, is I usually find it helpful to check in on it a couple times at the night.
As the moon is completely covered in Earth's shadow, it will appear to change color. This NASA data visualization predicts the moon will look like this.
The appearance of a total lunar eclipse is very much dependent on the conditions in the Earth's atmosphere. You're getting the light from all of the world's sunrises and sunsets bending by the Earth's atmosphere onto the face of the moon when it's in totality. And that's why it has this coppery red or so-called blood color instead of being just completely black.
And unlike solar eclipses, we will be able to see this phenomenon with the naked eye. No special glasses needed.
You can even bring out your binoculars and look right at the red moon if you'd like.
Wow, that was really great information we learned there. Even if the clouds make it hard for us to see the eclipse here, the Griffith Observatory will be live streaming it. And if you don't want to stay up, you can watch the video later. We'll be right back. Well, Tania, goodness knows we have got a lot going on over the next 48 plus hours.
Oh yeah, listen, we're buckling down. We are hunkering in.
We are.
We're using each other.
Yes, we are. Yes, that's what we were talking about. You know, storm anxiety, the best thing you can do, talk about it. And don't give the burden just to yourself.
Yeah.
Share it with other people, right? Because we're all going to go through this together.
It's
but
very
hey,
true.
once we get past Saturday,
the rest of the weekend doesn't look too bad. You can enjoy your Sunday, recover, recoup, but we will have more forecast updates tonight. First at 9. Be sure to check in. We'll be giving you the latest on those new model runs and another look at that 10 and 7 day forecast.
take care.